Check, check, check. This is My Name is Tiga, podcast number 6. Welcome, dear listeners. I just finished doing a podcast for H&M Clothing for a benefit. It was okay, but now I'm loose and relaxed and in a good mood, and I can kick off this special edition. Podcast number 6. I got special guests. I got Thomas Vaughn Party. I got Matt Walsh. They're in the studio. I'm at the Nerve Center, CBC Studios in Canada. It's freezing cold out. I'm going to interview them later. Got amazing music. This is Alan Braxe, Addicted, off the new Kitsune comp. Bam! Pop! You're listening to My Name is Tiga, podcast number 6, live from Montreal. This is Alan Braxe, Addicted. Stick around, we've got an hour and a half show today. It's going to be incredible, as usual. Killer show for you today. My name is Tiga, and this is my podcast. I recently received the statistics on my podcast, and it is shocking how many people are listening. I've got amazing feedback. I'm very, very, very happy about that. And it's January, and my holiday has come to an end, so I've got lots of interesting news about, my next album and plans and parties and lots of great music that came over the winter months. My last podcast was mixed, and I'm just going to fade in the next track. Oh, it's an amazing one. Anyway, my last podcast was mixed, which I wasn't so in love with as a concept, and I got some feedback. People really liked this old style, more radio style, so that's what I've come back to. Stick around. This is my favorite band of all time, DAF, headed by Robert Gorel. This is a track produced by Connie Plank off the Gold and Lieb album, and it is called LK. It's everything I love about music in one song. If you don't like it, you don't like me, and I don't like you. To say. It's depressing to me how good that music is. And to think it's 26 years ago. That was LK by DAF. First time I ever went to Munich to see DJ Hell for one of my first gigs ever. I was crossing the street to go to a cafe. I remember I ordered tagliatelle with meat. Yeah, which I thought was strange because I was in Germany. But I later found out that in southern Germany, all the time they eat Italian food. Anyway, and I was at the cafe, and boom, walking down the street, Robert Gorel. That's right, Robert Gorel, the same guy who did the album Night Full Attention. If you don't have that one, you should go buy it. Backup vocals by Annie Lennox the entire time. Oh boy, it's amazing. Okay, so we got a very, very, very special show for you today. The reason why it's special is we have not one but two guests. I was getting quite a lot of flack in the past for only interviewing my friends. If you remember some of the earlier podcasts, I interviewed friends like James Murphy, Dave DeWally, I think Errol Alkin, and more recently even Jake Shears. So I'm about to spin this mofo around on you, flip it, as they say, by interviewing my brother. How do you feel about that, podcasters? Scum being us. And so I'm about to do a quick interview with Thomas Von Party, and we do have a very special guest. Unfortunately, he is a friend. It's not my fault. His name's Matt Walsh. He's come all the way from London. He was here over this past weekend in Montreal and Quebec to DJ two parties. I'm going to talk a little bit about those later. But do you guys hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
And I can hear you now.
Are we on the master?
You are on.
Press on so we can.
We're on?
You guys are on.
I can't hear myself.
I can hear myself now.
Cool it, guys.
Yeah, you can hear me.
Cool it. I can hear you fine. Just talk as if this is all going out to the masses, which it is. Thomas Von Party, you there?
Yes.
Matt Walsh, you there?
I'm here.
You guys in the house?
We're in the house.
Matt, what do you think of the weather so far?
Fucking cold.
Excuse me, what was that?
Excuse me, it's cold.
Yes. I like your style, you swear. So the three of us were involved in a party organized by Thomas Von Party Friday this weekend. It was kind of a acid revival, old just killer techno party. I'm going to talk about it a little bit later. It inspired me, so I got a lot of music that we're going to play kind of in that direction. And we're going to do a little interview later on with you guys, so stick around. I'm going to play something which is not new, but for some reason it keeps slipping through my fingers. I haven't been able to play it on previous podcasts. Oh no, my first mistake. There it is. This is a remix by guys called Get Shakes, who I think, Matt, do you know, are they British?
These are good friends of mine, yeah, Darren and Matt.
This is working out perfectly. This is Darren and Matt remixing great friends of mine, Mark and Jesper's DK7 project. This record seems to have gotten a bit lost in the shuffle, so I want to hype it up a little bit. It's a remix of a track called Instone. I think it's really excellent. So this is podcast number 6A, and my name is Tiga with Matt Walsh and Thomas Von Party.
Love you when it's on its knees. Love your The name is Tiga.
Instone, you grind bone with me. Instone,
So good. Good as gold.
Instone, you grind bone with me. Instone.
You are listening to DK7 Instone. That's Mark Sullivan on vocals, Jesper Dahlback on production, but that was a Get Shakes remix. Some London boys, new up-and-comers. Actually, Matt Walsh knows about them, or knows he can probably get us a bit of information about them. Fantastic record that kind of slipped through the cracks a little bit. So maybe my massive influence in the podcast community can revive fortunes. Okay, boys, men, sorry. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Can hear you.
Bompardi and Walsh in the house. Let me just do a delicate fade out. Okay, so here we are at CBC Studios. It's one of the biggest radio stations in the world, based in Montreal. We're in the dead of winter. It's 20 below zero outside. Matt Walsh flew in on a transatlantic airplane from London to do two parties organized by Thomas Vaughan. First one, Friday night. Thomas, what was it all about?
Acid.
There you go. What was the party called, actually? Did it have a name?
Kind of changed
Acid
around.
part
We
deux.
tried. Yeah, Acid part deux.
Acid Part 2.
Super Acid Bros on Facebook, I think we called it. And
Super Acid Bros
Yeah.
on Facebook. So the idea for the listeners,
It ended up being Turbo Mind Vacuum.
exactly.
Shout
There
about
you go.
3 names.
Let's stick with Turbo Mind Vacuum because that's something you're going to be hearing all about all year. It's going to be the catchphrase for 08. So the idea, as far as I got it, was kind of a return to basics, acid and techno in a very small, intimate setting. I know for myself, I DJ'd a guest appearance as Acid in DJ Estion, and for me at least, it was kind of a return to this spirit of 93 kind of vibe. Some listeners were not born at the time, of course, but it was a return to very, very basic. It was only about 100 people, great sound. It was a bit of a cavern feel, and we all had a great time. Matt, did you enjoy it?
I loved it, yeah.
And how does it compare to, I don't play so many of those small parties anymore in London. Is there stuff like that happening in England right now?
That sort of old vibe, no, not at all. It was great to dig out some old records and something I can't really do in London like that.
Yeah, exactly. I know for myself, it was incredibly liberating to be like a nobody, to not have my name on a flyer, for nobody to particularly care that I was there. I loved it, and I really, there was a lesson learned I thought my DJing all last year was pretty boring. and it was, I think a lot of it is like, well, I guess you guys too, everybody, you start to wrestle with expectation and play records you think maybe the crowd wants to hear. Before you know it, you're kind of boring. I'll speak for myself. So that was, for me, a perfect way to start this year, to get back to, it really felt like how it used to feel. Also playing only records, I thought was really nice. Thomas, I noticed you made a format change for the evening.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I was playing off my laptop for the last 4 years, and I just got sick of it. I got sick of doing the connections every time I went to play. I got sick of just kind of my afro only being visible atop like the laptop screen, and
I've heard a lot of people complain about that.
yeah, it was really just an aesthetic change. Even though there's some advantages, I think, to playing off the laptop. I really like to be able to loop. I think in some ways it makes better, but yeah, I just wanted to return to just a feeling of being a bit more free behind the decks and be able to move around a bit and just have a bit more fun when I play.
This party was all about freedom, I think. That's what I heard a lot of people say. It was really about freedom. So is this podcast. But interesting enough, I find, to a lot of people out there, to people who follow Turbo, to people who follow like my website and the podcast and everything, I think Thomas Von Party represents very much this, a slightly newer generation of not a full-on MySpace turd, but at the same time, you definitely have your fingers plugged into MySpace pies, Facebook pies, webcasting, burning, encoding, ripping, computing in general. And I am your older brother, and I'm kind of, sometimes I feel like I'm this, old grumpy guy who's complaining about how things used to be, blah, blah, blah. But I did find it was interesting. I'm not saying you finally came around, but you said there's an aesthetic change.
Yeah.
What, a little bit more specifically, because I think this is at the heart of what, it's a very important issue right now. And you mentioned two words. You said better, like maybe you didn't think you played better, but there's an aesthetic change. Do you think, elaborate a little bit on what you really feel is at the heart of the aesthetic difference between analog and digital?
Well, first of all, for me, it's like right now I'm really busy, working really hard. I'm spending like 12 hours a day in front of a computer screen, like as is, and playing music and going out to a party. You wanna have a different feeling, and you wanna kick it up a vibe.
Exactly.
And basically, it's just nice for those few hours when I'm playing music and I'm out there and I'm having fun, especially a party like that, to not have to deal with that same interface. And it gets overwhelming. It's exhausting always being in front of a screen. It's a brain drain.
Now, would you say it's a safe assumption? I mean, my theory is, and I think the party Friday, obviously all the people listening to this weren't there. I'm not going to go too far into it. But would you think it's safe to say what you lose, let's say, in looping ability and some irregularities in sound quality and things like that, do you feel you make up for it? Or Matt, if you want to, to me, you kind of make up for it just by the tactile feeling of playing and the energy that then develops between different DJs and the crowd or whatever. I think I definitely felt it or feel it.
100% I do.
With the three of us playing together, definitely, yeah. There was.
Matt, you play vinyl, CDs, both?
Nearly all vinyl on Friday, but yeah.
And what about, and of the I guess of the newer generation DJs, especially, what do you guys think, or what do you see as being, like in London, for example, at the shops, how many new DJs, working DJs, are playing vinyl, and how many are playing all digital?
Probably next to none playing vinyl these days. A lot of people, Ableton, Tractor, etc. And a lot of CD playing, I suppose, CDs from downloads or whatever, blogs.
I think it's impossible to get rid of it altogether because it is just so convenient and everything. But anyway, I counted Friday, even if it was only for 100 people, as a small step in the right direction, a small victory. Now, I'm going to come back to you guys after the break. I know you don't have unlimited time because you got to get back to the airport. But for me, the spirit of that party and a lot of music that I hope kind of makes a bit of a resurgence this year. This is acid music. This is I sound like Sven Bath. This is the way we're living. But this is I just like, there was a certain naivete back in the early 90s. Techno producers, ironically, even though they weren't, now everyone talks about punk and wears leather jackets and blah, blah, blah. But actually in the early 90s, you had techno guys who didn't look the part at all, didn't talk the talk, but actually were making records that were quite kind of punk rock. And when you listen to them back now, at least for me, I don't know, I like hanging with you guys because it's a bit more like objective reality. It's not just my own nostalgic musings. But when I hear old records like the one I'm about to hit play on right now, is that working? There we go. When I hear records like this, I hear just kind of a crazy, wild spirit. Definitely drug-induced, but just a style of production that I find is harder and harder to come by now. Anyway, this is Thomas Heckman. He was a master of acid in the early 90s, continuing all the way in the late 90s. I kind of lost track of his stuff. Anyway, this track will kick off this segment. It is called, appropriately, Acid Generation, under the name of Drax from 1993. Enjoy. You're listening to Acid Generation by Drax. My name is Tiga, Volume 6. the Acid Edition. Before there was minus, there was +8. This is an artist called Haze, also from '93. The track is called World Watches On. Another one that I would like to play more often, but the output's quite low. What not so many people know is there's actually Rabbit in the Moon under a different name. My name is Tiga, volume 6.3. My name is Tiga. This is the podcast, and we are in a little acid segment. The future and the past of psychedelia all rolled up into one. I have guests, Thomas Von Party and Matt Walsh, here in the studio. Very, very special CBC Radio Canada studios. And you were listening to Haze with a track called World Watches On +8, John Aquaviva and Richie Houghton's defunct imprint, but a label that was very, very important in the 90s for techno music. Matt, Thomas, you guys there?
Hey.
Yep.
Cool. So I know you have to be heading back to England very soon. You're actually going direct to the airport from the studio. I appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Thomas, what is coming up on Turbo Recordings?
A lot. It's the 10-year anniversary this year, and preparing big things. We're doing a new website that I've been working really hard on with our designer, and that should launch end of February. Very, very happy with it. It's going to be super dope, and will be the place, by the way, to get a complete archive of all the podcasts.
I want to make just a side note. The existing Turbo Recordings website has been, at the time when it was first developed, was the absolute cutting edge of web technology. I was personally responsible for that, but it's been quite a few years. It is in desperate need of revamping. I'm very happy you guys have taken over.
Yeah. We've also got will
this one have moving GIFs? Animated GIFs?
No. Yeah, that's a turn of the century navigation bar that one's got. No, we're then we're also planning a big tour, North American tour we're starting with end of April and all of May, and then moving into Europe, and then probably Asia in the fall.
Global tour. Global domination. I know I'm supposed to come up with a name for it. I have some candidates. Canadance? Does that interest anybody?
I like that.
Anyway, what about records? Because that is, after all, our bread and butter.
Yeah, we got, we just released the Is Reality EP, which is great, by Haim and Guy J. And upcoming, we've got Turbo 49, which is a remix pack of an old Cari Lekebusch record called Shaded.
Amazing. Yeah. I DJ the original all the time. Played it on a few of the old podcasts. We have mixes by Matt Walsh under the name Clouded Vision and Compuphonic and Kolombo. I'll be playing one of them coming up. Amazing record.
And the long lost Jesper Dahlback remix on there.
Exactly. The original Jesper, not even the Jesper Dahlback mix that was released on True Soul, one that was way better and that he gave me personally.
And then Turbo 50 is a big one. We're re-releasing Sunglasses at Night.
My God, nobody told me. It's going to be massive. It's hard to imagine it's 7 years since it was first released.
And a killer remix pack for that, mixes by Alter Ego.
Which we're going to play a world debut today, Alter Ego, but I'm going to have to cut it up and talk over it to avoid the bootleg frenzy that would otherwise result.
And Black Devil Disco Club.
A coup.
Amazing. And Conrad Black.
As Yet Undelivered.
And another one, Top Secret, As Yet Undelivered.
Both of the As Yet Undelivered. Hurry up, please.
Yeah.
If you're out there.
And then, Turbo 51 will be a new French artist I'm really excited about right now. Love playing his records, Popof. And he's just released a whole bunch of stuff, but I think saving the best for Turbo.
No, ours is definitely the best. The other ones are actually... the other ones serve a purpose. They make ours seem better, which is exactly the way it was meant to be. Yeah, I'm going to play that next too. It's an absolute bomb. It's called the Chomper, the LSD version, obviously.
Yeah.
So, everyone out there in Podland, there's a lot to look forward to Turbo-wise. You're going to get a chance to catch shows. You're going to get a chance to get new records, buy them on vinyl or download them. And if you can't get enough, there's going to be a new website. It's our 10-year anniversary fete, and it's going to be magical. Matt.
Yo.
Okay, so first of all, the Clouded Vision remix of Shaded was phenomenal. I love the dub. I play it all the time, and so congrats on that. And also on the previous podcast, I played that's your first record you made.
Saturation, yeah.
Excellent record. Also, again in the spirit of acid house. So what's it been like working in studio? And you must have lots of plans for the future. And
Yeah, I've started recently with a guy named Steve, a friend of mine from back home. We've worked on a couple of tracks. That was sort of the first one we put together. I don't know, the reason behind it was a lot to do with the scene in London at the time. I want to do something different, bring back some of the sort of old vibes.
What is the scene like at the London at the time or now? Is it a bit...
A lot of people playing the same records in some cases. Yeah. I just wanted to do something that was old and bring stuff back, and something that I've always been really into.
It's not every day you hear someone who wants to do something old.
Yeah.
But I appreciate it. But do you find, I mean, in London, is it what? It's a lot of people playing, I mean, what is it a lot of like the chopped up bang and new wave stuff?
Yeah,
there's
a lot of chopped up bangers. I tend to stay away from a lot of them. A lot of them I really respect, but yeah, I'm kind of pleased with what we're doing.
Well, most of what I say on this show is bullshit, and most of what I write about usually is untrue. And I don't know if maybe the best reputation for integrity, but the first time I heard you DJ, we were playing together at the T-Bar, and right. I'm not too proud to admit I was very, very impressed. And
That's very kind.
Well, first off, a lot of people were saying, "Oh, he looks a bit like you." So I was like, "This guy, I love this guy. This is amazing." But it was really just the baseball cap similarity. But no, but I was, in all seriousness, I was impressed mainly with my feelings on England have always been a little bit mixed, and I think in a lot of ways it's a difficult place to kind of to forge new sounds, and a difficult place. It can be very trendy, it can be very hype oriented, and I was impressed that kind of in that ocean of, I don't want to say it's all conformity. There's obviously loads of interesting stuff, but I thought you were, you definitely had this kind of old techno soul that was going on, and everybody I know who's heard you play feels the same way, and that I think is very impressive. So everyone out there, this is not just typical hype, but if you get a chance to hear Matt play, you really should. He's an excellent DJ.
Thank you.
No problem. So and you guys have a tour coming up, don't you? I mean, you guys have like a mini tour coming up.
We have a mini tour of England, yeah. Thomas is coming over to my place in the second week of March. We're doing Manchester on the Thursday. We're doing 2 parties in London on the Friday. Then we're doing Stealth in Nottingham on the Saturday. Back in London again on the Sunday. Oof. So it's pretty hectic 4 days.
Thomas, it's going to be baptism by fire on the Euro front.
I'm ready.
Amazing. I don't think I'll be there, but I'd love to be there. I'll be somewhere else. But, okay, is there anything else you guys want to add? It's been really, really good having you around, Matt, for the weekend. I had a fabulous time on Friday. Thomas, I know you had a great time. It's been great. I have a dedication to you guys, actually. The highest dedication I know how to bestow on anyone. Aphex Twin.
Wicked.
I know on Friday, Thomas, in the heat of the moment, with the strobes and the lights and everything was crazy, and I think you potentially had this lined up for a mix. Oh no, I don't know.
I had this one lined up, but I did play Polynomial C.
Okay, so
which doesn't come out at any regular party.
No. Anyway, you cannot be faulted for dropping Polynomial C. A move of genius. Anyway, this one had been kind of almost played. It wasn't. I feel it's an unfinished business. This is off from the Analord series. It's Crying in Your Face, going out to Thomas Von Party and Matt Walsh, who definitely made my weekend way better than any other weekends lately.
Thanks.
Cheers.
No problem. Safe trip home. Von Party will be back next time as usual. You can catch him as moderator on the Web Zone. That's it. Podcast number 6. Brah. Aphex twin, the Analord. For those of you who are not familiar, I can't imagine anyone out there's Melcy. I can't imagine anyone there out there listening is completely ignorant about Aphex twin, but he is to me the absolute master. There's Aphex twin, there's Prince, there's Daft Punk, just complete masters. That was a track called "Crying in Your Face." Anyway, so it was nice having my bro around and Matt around. Anyway, now we got about another 45 minutes where it's just me and you. And I'm going to just mostly play good new music. There's so much lately. There's a lot of good stuff, and I'm feeling very inspired and energized. Quick note, I am beginning studio sessions, heavy studio sessions now on my follow-up album to Sexor. I don't like to say too many details because last album I talked too much and it ended up being this thing where it was years in the making, whatever. But I'm starting some heavy work in the next few months, working with some incredible people. Soulwax, definitely. Writing some songs with Gonzalez, who's an absolute genius. And I got some top secret guests in the works. Oh, also with Scissor Sisters as well, and some others. And so I have no excuse not to make something incredible because I'm working really with some of the best. So anyway, as you heard from Thomas Von Party, there's a lot of great Turbo records coming out. A lot of them are really, really good. And this to me is one of my favorites of the bunch. This is the new Popof. It's coming out only in a few months. It's called the Chomper LSD Mix. I've been playing it a lot. It's absolutely huge. I'm going to have to talk over it a little bit because it's too early to play it in its entirety. Got to protect against bootleggers. So stick around. We've got 45 minutes mostly of music. I'll try to talk as little as possible. My name is Tiga, Volume 6, Podcast. French. Breakdown. I have to talk during the breakdown or you're all going to copy it and make millions. Get ready. My name is Tiga. Pod. Cast. you're listening to. My name is Tiga, podcast number 6. This is Popof, the Chomper, LSD remix. Yo, yo, yo. I'm sorry I'm talking so much. It's because I'm playing music that's not going to be released for months, and my legal team has advised me I have to be careful. So that's all. No harm done. Okay, we got a big one for you here. This is a world exclusive. Now, 7 years ago, a little more, I made a record called Sunglasses at Night with Zyntherius. For me, it was the record that launched my career, my international career at least. If I never made that record, I don't know, I think there's a good chance, there's a chance none of you would ever have heard of me. So I consider myself very lucky. It was a cover version of an old Corey Hart record. He was from Montreal. Anyway, it's 7 years later, and I got the rights back from Gigolo, so we are re-releasing it on Turbo. 2 12 inches with incredible remixes. We have Alter Ego lined up, Black Devil Disco Club, as Thomas mentioned, and we have 3 other mixes that are all very magical. Anyway, this is the Alter Ego one. We just got it. It's a disco epic. I'm going to play about 5 minutes of it. It's 10 minutes long. So enjoy. This is Alter Ego remix of Tiga and Zyntherius, Sunglasses at Night. And unfortunately, I will have to talk a little bit. Alter Ego, one of the best production teams of the past 15 years, and I'm very, very, very proud that they're doing a remix on Turbo of a track that I made. So thank you, Roman, thank you, Jorn, thank you, thank you. Get ready. check. You're listening to Tiga and Zyntherius, Sunglasses at Night, remixed by Alter Ego. Get ready, the breakdown. This is the best part. This is the breakdown. And I'm gonna have to fade it out soon. I'm sorry. Oh yeah. To hear what happens, you're gonna have to wait till the record comes out. I'm sorry, I was a little bit obnoxious, I admit it. Anyway, but I got really excited because we just got it and I wanted to play it out. It's not gonna be out for months. Anyway, you're listening to My Name is Tiga, podcast number 6. I've been doing this now for a few hours because before this I did a podcast for H&M clothing for it was a benefit for Fashion Against AIDS. So I've been a few hours and I had a lot of enthusiasm later and I'm fading a little bit. No, I mean I'm still really excited anyway. I just wanted to say again, I said it last time, I've been really touched and impressed by the good feedback I've gotten on the podcast. I think of everything I did last year. It's something that, I was proud of, and I think it's fun. I really miss radio. If any of you are real web nerds out there, I did a radio show for 10 years, every Monday night from 1 a.m. till 4 a.m. It's a bit dark. Anyway, the show was called the Tiga and Gnat. He was my partner at the time, G-N-A-T. The Tiga and Gnat show was on a Montreal college radio station called CKUT 90.3. Anyway, for about 10 years or so, I did that every Monday night. And I really enjoyed it. I kind of miss radio. As you can tell, I love to talk. Anyway, so this is the other massive turbo record coming out. I think it's my favorite of the lot. It is Shaded by Cari Lekebusch, a hero of mine from the mid-90s, Swedish producer, Godfather. A track called Shaded came out on Adam Bayer's label True Soul, and I had a remix by Jesper Dahlback. That's how I got introduced to it. Anyway, we decided to license it, re-release it. There's a remix by Compuphonic and Kolombo. On My Name is Tiga podcast, volume 6.
You were rolling in a sauce to move. You like how that the war. You the days now. Where they gonna say? You know where they gonna say? But I cry about the Asian food. You let drop at the war. Destination wall. The way they gonna say the bitch, you know the way it can fit. July last to drop off the edge. At the lowest drop off the niche. One pilot to the pole, the one. It never dropped out the soul farm. It all drop out the starch alive. It drop out top as it tried. Low as to low, situated on fortune. And it never stopped the one. It didn't drop out the wall.
listening to My Name is Tiga, the podcast, and my name is, in fact, Tiga. So that is Shaded by Cari Lekebusch, Compuphonic and Kolombo remix. Beautiful record. Compuphonic and Kolombo have the ability, I think they can just ride that edge between kind of commercial and underground, but somehow they pull it off and the stuff sounds fantastic. Hope you're enjoying the podcast so far. Only got about 20 minutes left. Unfortunately, I'd love to play more music, but studio time is almost over. Next up, actually, before I play music, this is a completely side note. I've recently got into hi-fi equipment, speakers and amplifiers, not studio stuff, more kind of home grade stuff. And once you start testing everything out, it's really incredible, the differences in quality and, you know, how different amplification makes different records sound different, and needles and the signal path, you know, the digital path and converters and everything. Anyway, I think all I want to say is, everyone out there, a lot of you are already converted, and a lot of you already try a lot of analog stuff and buy records and everything, but give records a chance. The difference, how good they can sound when it's all done right, is magical. And there's something to be said for the process of just striving for sound quality. There's something kind of old-fashioned about. I know it's more expensive. I know it's a pain in the ass. It's not the same as an iPod with headphones or even CDs, but there is something really, really nice about striving for this kind of human analog warmth. I know a lot of it's bullshit. A lot of it's just, old time talk, and take it all with a grain of salt. But I've just noticed for myself lately, and that's why I was talking all that stuff with Thomas Van Party and everything. We live just in this completely digital world where every efficiency is praised over all else, and it's all about how cheap something is and how fast something is, and how just how efficient it is. But all I'm saying is there's something to be said for inefficiency. You get these big vacuum tube amplifiers that waste 90% of their energy, and they're an environmental disaster, and they cost a lot, and they only make one a year. Anyway, not everyone can afford that stuff. But the point is that the theory behind it, that something's, possibly inefficient, but at the same time just a labor of love and sounds incredible, is something to consider. Anyway, I don't know where I just had in my notes there a hi-fi speech. So I decided to give my hi-fi speech. Next up, this is a band I don't know anything about called the Shoking Pinks. It's on DFA. Anything on DFA I trust. It's James's and Tim's label, and they did the Hercules and Love Affair records lately. Everything's good. This one is called Dress to Please, Deepcord remix. I unfortunately don't know who Deepcord are. I don't know who Shoking Pinks are. I remember a band called Vicious Pink and Kissing the Pink. I don't know if those have any relation. I highly doubt it. Anyway, we're coming up to the last 20 minutes, so I hope you enjoy everything. If you have to just ignore my hi-fi analog rant, feel free. The Shoking Pinks on DFA on My Name is Tiga. that is a beautiful song. It hurts me, it hurts my heart to fade that out. Shocking Pinks, Dressed to Please. The Deepcord remix on DFA. Deepcord, I don't know who you are, but call me. Call me, Deepcord. DFA is on fire lately. I mean, I guess they've always been kind of on fire, but some fantastic records that aren't, LCD or DFA produced records, just fantastic records. So we're rounding out the show now. We've got less than 15 minutes left, and then I have to go back outside and brave the 20 below zero weather. We are going to play 3 more tracks. I only got time for 3 more tracks. This next one is by a band Das Pop. They were produced by by Soulwax, Belgian band, very, very, very talented band. I believe, if I'm not crazy, the drummer is also the singer, at least in studio, which I think bands where the drummers are the singers usually go on to be very famous. I mean, usually that shows some kind of real talent. Any drummer that can sing, it's obvious that they were given quite a good hand at birth, literally. So this is Das Pop. Track is called Fool for Love. And the tricky thing about this one is that when it came out, about a month ago or something, there were 3 mixes of it that were all incredible. There was a Sebastian mix. I'm a massive fan of Sebastian. Ed Banger Crew, French guy, incredibly talented. There was also a Brodinski mix, another young French techno producer, amazing. Both of those I've DJ'd extensively. And there was this mix by Aeroplane. This is on Eskimo Records, out of Belgium. And I think it's on Eskimo. Uh-oh. Anyway, this mix I've never had a chance to play out. That's why I want to use it at the end of the show. So enjoy it. This is Das Pop, remixed by Aeroplane. You're listening to My Name is Tiga, the podcast, and we're coming up to the end of another show. I hope everyone's enjoyed it. That was the Aeroplane remix of Das Pop, Fool for Love. Great song. I think the album is actually called Fuckland, which is an amazing name for an album. I missed we were playing at the same party. They played at that massive Soul Waxmas party, December 22nd, which was the big mega Soul Wax Christmas party. I heard their show went incredible, but I missed it. I usually miss shows. 2 more records for you coming up. Yeah, it's been a bit of a mishmash musically, but I think I really like all the records I played. Of course I do. That was one thing actually I noticed. I played, as I mentioned earlier, I played this little kind of acid old school techno party this weekend. And what it reminded me of, the most important thing is when you really, not when you like all the records you're DJing, but when you love every record in your box. So that is my promise to you, dear listeners. I will return to my true self, which is I will only play records I love, not records I like. Okay, fair deal. Before I go, 2 more tracks. I just want to say one thing quickly. The best CD I have heard in a long time is called Spaze the Place by Pam, P-A-M, Perks and Minnie. They are clothing designers and I think artists from Australia. They have a label called Pam. And they did this strange psychedelic mix CD, which was actually mixed by friends of mine. Anyway, it's incredible. I can't play it on air because it's not indexed. If you get a chance to pick it up, you gotta grab it. It's amazing. Okay, here we go. Finishing off, this is E08 remix of Recloose, Cardiology. This is from a while ago, but I just dug it up and I love it. And we're almost at the end of another episode. Enjoy. Oh man, what a way to end a show. Thomas Von Party's gonna have to edit that out. That is really aggravating. Hold on 1 second. Let's try that again. Let's not try that again. Man, that was aggravating. Thomas, in case you have to edit this out, let's just start now. Sorry about that. There was a skip in that Recloose record. I could have sworn I played it at home and there was no problems. That's kind of screwed me up and that's not a nice way to end. Anyway, I'm going to end like this. Thank you all for listening. Thanks to my special guests. And that's all for this February edition of My Name is Tiga, podcast number 6.3. And I'd like to finish with a dedication to a guy I met last year who is hands down the coolest guy I met in a long time. This is going out to the Captain, codename the Captain. This is Felix the Housecat. Track is called Monkey Cage. Check, check. Adios.
Tiga's top 10 numbers. Number 10, 8. Number 9, 1,700,000,000. Number 8, 1. Number 7, 27. Number 6, 667. Number 5, 666. Number 4, 69. Number 3, 99. Number 2, 18. Number 1, 5. This is a Turbo Podcast. My name is Tiga, the best of the best.